Hello and welcome to a new Astrology as a Strategy podcast. You are going to listen to a recording of the Facebook Live that I did within my Facebook group, Astrology as a Strategy, where I give the monthly forecast. Now, if you want to be live there with me, ask questions and get them answered right away, you can go to Facebook and then search for Astrology as a Strategy group, join the group, and then you get, besides the monthly forecast, lots of daily insights, and it's just a really beautiful community. So enjoy the podcast and hopefully see you within my Facebook group. Welcome to the Astrology as a Strategy podcast. I'm your host, Patricia Panassi. I'm on a mission to help you amplify your influence so you can free up time to spend with your family while increasing your revenue. I'm an astrologer, business mentor, an adventure seeker, and a proud mama of 3 kids. Think of this podcast as your shortcut to more joy and ease in your business. Running a business is joyful, and when you're not having fun, you haven't cracked the code yet, but that's about to change. I share practical and short tools how to use astrology in your business and life. So let's get started on using your energy strategically to make a bigger impact, have more free time, and grow your wealth. Welcome to the November forecast, and I am going to share here today what November is about, and I've been contemplating a lot on how to frame this month, how to talk about it in a way where you don't feel like it's heavy, but honestly it is. So I'm just going to talk about it as it is because it's just a heavy month. Let me just pull up my notes so I make sure I don't forget anything. But yeah, we basically what has been happening this whole year is it revolved a lot around hey Susan, good that you're here all the way from the US. Awesome. You're up early, by the way. So the backdrop of everything that's happening this year is the square between Saturn and Uranus, which is basically the challenges, I'm just trying to find kind words, but I'm not just going to. It's the fight between the two, where Saturn wants to stay put, it wants to keep everything as it is, but it's in Aquarius, so it also is thinking about expanding, but it doesn't really want to expand, whereas Uranus is like, let's change the shit around, let's do it fast and quick, and there's really no stop, whereas Uranus is in Taurus, and Taurus doesn't really want to change. So that in and of itself is already this tension. Both of them are in fixed signs, and fixed signs are usually quite stubborn. So both of them don't want to give up on their beliefs and what they want. So that's really the backdrop of everything that has been happening this whole year. And in December, we're going to have the third and final square for this year between Saturn and Uranus. And this time they're speeding up towards each other. So Saturn is direct, Uranus is still in retrograde. And as you can imagine, when two things are speeding up towards each other, that's a little bit more of an intense collision than if one planet hits the other planet in the back. So that's kind of to frame what is going on. I just see my hair is doing this weird stuff. Anyway, earlier when I was trying to put on mascara, I just smeared it all over my eyebrow. So besides the backdrop of the Saturn-Uranus square, we have Scorpio season right now, which in and of itself can already be like a very intense and a time where you feel like you're being tested, and when there's a lot of aggression and fire and confrontation as well. But we also have Mars in Scorpio, which is the planet that it's basically the planet of war, and that can be in a good way, because sometimes conflicts need to come to an actual point where it can start to move forward after an explosion. So we have that, and then we have Mars and Mercury conjoining each other, and then they start to interact with the Saturn and with Uranus. So they're already kind of activating the energy, while Saturn and Uranus are already ramping up towards each other, which is happening on December 23rd when it's exact, but they're slow planets, so it takes a while to get there. And then Mercury and Mars are going to aspect first Saturn. They're going to square Saturn, and then they're going to form an opposition with Uranus. And because Scorpio is not the sign who just says like, oh, let's tickle a little bit, let's just see if we can get things moving. No, Scorpio is like, good, you have skeletons in the closet, let's drag them all out. Let's put them all out in the open for everybody to see. And Mars is this very powerful, very active, very, I'm not gonna screw around and beat around the bush. Now I'm just going to be straight, direct, and Susan said it wants me to take a nap because of the intensity. Actually, I'm advising you to do the opposite, because if we disengage with the intensity, it kind of washes over us, where we kind of get where we feel powerless. So I'm actually encouraging you, instead of disengaging, is basically how can you roll with the punches? How can you work with the energy in a way where you feel the frustration, you feel the anger, you feel the fire? How can you direct that towards something? I almost want to say productive, but that's not what I mean, because it's not about being productive. It goes towards your vision, that it goes towards what you believe in. And for instance, for everybody who lives in the Netherlands, like we had our government, gosh, I don't even know what the English word is, but basically our government had to step down last year. We had elections in March, and we still don't have a government, because they're still like kind of discussing, and well, there's a whole different discussion, but I feel like we're coming to a point where people are just fed up with it. Like seriously, it takes you, I just saw a post today, like 225 days and you don't have a government yet, because we have a multiple party government, so they have to get the majority in the Senate. I don't know how you translate that, but they have to have the majority. And they don't. Like they can't work together to get the majority between the several different political parties. And I feel in the country, I feel that restlessness, that like, come on. And in many cases, we need things to come to that collision, so that people will speak about why they're not happy, like what is happening. And because Mercury will enter, just looking at my notes, Mercury will enter Scorpio tomorrow, right after the new moon. So tomorrow first you have the new moon at 12 degrees Scorpio, which is exactly opposite Uranus at 12 degrees. Now we have 30 degrees, and when it's within a range of 10 degrees, we already call it an opposition. But this one is, both are at 12 degrees. So it's like the Uranus opposition, the Uranus anger, the need for change is really fueling this new moon. So if you have the time tomorrow, the new moon is at at the top of my head, because it's not in my notes here. It's at 10 o'clock, at 10:14 in the evening in Europe, and it is at 5:14 p.m. Eastern Central Time. Sit down tomorrow and really look at your desires. Look at what do you feel needed that needs to change? How you want to set your intention to embrace your deep, dark desires. Also look at your sexual desires, because Scorpio is very much related to the sacred sexuality. So how can you, and this is not necessarily all of a sudden with like the other people in your life, but also how do you honor your sacred sexuality within yourself? Because like your second chakra, the area where you have your creative power, is also where life grows. It's like, but life doesn't grow without the interaction, without the sexuality, and not just the actual deed, but it's the whole sacredness around it. Also, I think it's funny because I just realized I've never spoken about this openly during a live. This is Scorpio season, where things that we condemn as like taboo is actually like, I mean, that's how we create humans. That's how it works. So really honor that need and that desire within yourself. Then the next day, on the 5th, we have Venus entering Capricorn, and Venus will stay there for about 4.5 months. I think until March she stays there. Not the best configuration for Venus. And then Mercury enters Scorpio on the same day. So also our conversations will start to get deeper. We'll start to, there's no room for chit chat in this season. And because there's so much intensity, also allow yourself to have these deeper conversations with your clients, with your team members, with people around you. Like, don't shy away from having the more challenging and difficult conversations. Then on November 10th, this is one you should pay attention to a little bit more. We have Mercury and Mars conjunct. So Mars and Mercury coming together. So the way that you speak and the way that you process things is like very direct, very deep, very, no beating around the bush, just straight to the point. And on that same day, we have Mercury and Mars squaring Saturn. And this is where that fight is starting to take place, because both are in fixed signs. So Mars and Mercury in Scorpio, they don't want to give up. They just want to dig really, really deep until the truth comes out. And then Saturn in Aquarius is like, yeah, no, I'm comfortable where I am. Like, there's no need to dig. There's no need to uproot anything. Let's just stay here. Susan said she's not a fan of chit chat, love deep conversation. Well, this season is like really good to have those deep conversations. I already started to notice it with my clients, but also with colleagues and other people in the industry. There is this need to really go into the extra layer, to redefine things, to look at things in a different way, and to see like how can we, as a collective, change the things that we are not happy about. And then we have on November 13th, we have Mercury opposing Uranus. Because Mercury moves a little bit faster, so it goes opposite Uranus on the 13th. And then on the 17th, Mars opposes Uranus. Again, there is this power battle, struggle, this powerful dynamic going on, where everybody wants to be right. Everybody just wants their say in it, and that can be challenging. That can be challenging with the people around you. If you have any big appointments, I just saw, I feel so introverted. I'm canceling appointments and rescheduling, and this energy is weird. Yes, super wavy and confusing. I don't even want to set goals. Yeah, Leo with the ascendant, Scorpio rising. Yeah, so all of this might actually be happening right on top of your ascendant. And every time when there's like an intensity on your ascendant, it can feel very confusing, because it's on that flip side between the 12th house, which is the introverted energy, which is the going inwards to, and then we have the first house, which is about your identity, about how you are in the world. So there's this struggle between where does this fit in? Where do I fit in? How does this transformation is going to occur? And because Scorpio energy is transformation. And I actually just wrote today about how we are in a pressure cooker, and that is going to help us to, sometimes we just need to blow the lid off to actually be able to start transforming things. Because if we keep it in the pot, we kind of to like try to like push it down and like, no, stay there, stay there, stay there. It can explode like a pressure cooker. So don't be like an exploding pressure cooker. Just release the lid. Actually open the valve, let the air out, and then open the lid, which is the safest way. So canceling appointment is good, but don't cancel the connection with yourself. That's something that I wanted to add. So like those middle 2 weeks are really the most intense, because we also have the sun squaring Jupiter. It's also not the easiest and smoothest configuration. But then at November 18, we have Mercury trining Neptune, and we have Venus trining Uranus. That is a little bit more smooth. We're just entering a smooth few days, or actually one day. We're just like a little bit of relief, because on the next day, November 19th, we have the full moon lunar eclipse at 27 degrees Taurus. So we're entering the eclipse season at the end of this month. And if you've been following astrology, this eclipse actually is starting to happen in the new sign, in the Taurus Scorpio axis. All of the eclipses from the last 1.5 years were in the Gemini Sagittarius axis, which is the mutable energy. Now we're moving into the fixed. So we have the Taurus Scorpio axis. We have one more solar eclipse at the beginning of December, and that will be the last eclipse that we have in the Gemini Sagittarius axis, and we're now moving to the Taurus Scorpio axis. So anybody who has like a lot of fixed energy, so the fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Those are the 4 signs that are fixed. So the eclipses they're the wild cards, which is interesting because you have that intensity with Mars and Mercury and Saturn and Uranus in the middle. And then we have a wild card at the end on the 19th saying, hi, I'm also here, just gonna stir things up a little bit more. And that can be a little bit confusing, a little bit disorienting. So this month is really about honoring your feelings, honoring what you're experiencing, knowing that this explosive energy, this like intensity, everybody feels it. And because you're aware of it, you'll be able to move with it a little bit better, but also be aware that there are a lot of people who aren't, and they just feel the frustration and they just release it to other people. So be mindful of that. And I think the best way to do this is to treat it with kindness, even though you think the other person is coming from a place that is just where you do not believe in at all. Try to approach it with kindness, because putting oil on the fire is of course not going to help. Luckily, the end of the month, we have the sun moving into Sagittarius on the 21st. On the 24th, we have Mercury entering Sagittarius. So there is this little bit of we're moving into this more positive, more excited fire energy, which is going to create some more relief for us. So that is good to take note. And what I said in December, we're also ramping up to the Saturn Uranus square. So that's like underneath everything that's moving. And because those planets are so slow, it's not like on December 23rd, it's like, bam, that's when you're going to feel it. it's really stretched out through. We are really in that energy already right now, and yeah, it's intense. Like, I don't know what other word to put to it, and intense doesn't necessarily mean something bad, but this is what it is. Just, I would say, buckle up, because we're in for a ride. But yeah, I know we all can get through it, especially if you are in tune with what is happening. Notice things that come up for yourself, especially on the new moon tomorrow. Make sure to journal, to set your intentions. And maybe your intentions will only be to be present for the next few weeks, or to allow the anger, the frustration, the discomfort to move through you, and not necessarily having to engage with it right away, but let it, like I said, let it move you. Because Scorpio, even though it's so intense, it is a water sign. So let the water, let the waves like wash over you, and let it go through you, because the more you try to push it away, it actually stays in your body, it stays in you. And by letting the energy move through you, you actually be able to transform it. And that's the energy of Scorpio. It transforms it. Once Scorpio touches something, it's going to be left completely different. It's like the alchemist of the zodiac. So keep that in mind when you move through some difficult shit this month. And know that you're very much capable of rolling with it. If you're watching the replay, let me know what your insights are. Thank you for Susan and for Deborah to be here and to share your comments and your insights. And if you are curious to see how does this affect me, if you're one of the fixed signs, then the intensity level is going to be moved up a little bit more. What I said, the Taurus, the Leo, the Scorpio, and the Aquarius, then the intensity is going to be dialed up a little bit. If you're curious to see what that means in your business, what it means for your team, how things can run even more smooth, and then that you don't have to unexpectedly like work with these challenges, because you actually know that these periods are coming and how you can best roll with that. I have one-day retreats available. I have 2 spots left for this year. So if you want to make a plan for next year, reach out to me and let's have a chat and see what it looks like for you and for your business. And yes, I just want to say, my loves, just stay calm, stay present, let the anger and the frustration move through you. And just allow yourself to move with it and to be okay. Deborah is sharing about something that happened, about her personal opinions about things. Oh, it's beautiful. She stayed calm and spoke about it afterwards. A great conversation. Yes, we don't have to convince each other of exactly what we feel and how we deal with things, but it's just seeing the perspective and seeing how other people think, and then also distancing ourselves when people get too emotional or too emotionally invested. Yes, especially if it's family, that's always tricky. If we come into these discussions with family members. So I'm going to sign off for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. And if you're interested in one of those 2 spots of the one-day retreats for this month, and let me know, because I'd love to have a conversation with you about what impact that can mean in your business. Wishing you a fantastic day. Happy new moon tomorrow, and I'll speak to you again very soon.